The first time I ever heard of K-pop Demon Hunters, I was scrolling through Netflix and my brother was in the room and I saw the movie. This must have been like opening day or like the second day it released. I'm like, hey, you want to watch a movie called K-pop Demon Hunters? We started laughing because that was just a stupid name for a movie. Little did I know, a couple months later, I'd be sitting here filming this today. A couple months is exaggerating, maybe a month and a half. And I know what you're thinking. I haven't posted in a long time.
I ran away, but I'm back now.
And I'd like to apologize for that. There's not really a valid excuse I can give, so I'm not even going to try to make one up. But anyways, let's just jump into my thoughts about this movie. So I've already given my thoughts about this movie's title. This title is atrocious. It is absolutely awful. There are a few times that I've watched a movie and I have not wanted to watch it just because of the name. And I know you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, and judging a movie by its name is probably even worse. But this name, like, literally physically repelled me from this movie. And if you like K-pop, would probably like attract you to this movie because it's called K-pop Demon Hunters. But as someone who doesn't listen to K-pop, it physically repelled me. And I wouldn't be sitting here today saying I watched the movie if it wasn't for the great online reviews. People were just going on and on about this movie. People who said they don't even like this kind of movie or this movie wasn't really their cup of tea still enjoyed the movie. So that encouraged me to finally sit down and watch it. So in this movie, for like thousands of years, there's been different groups of like three girls that fought demons, monsters, spirits, whatever you want to call them. And so they fight them using their voices, which I thought was an interesting concept. I don't know if they fully explore that concept, but basically they say they fight them with their voices, and so they're supposed to protect Earth from these demons. Which I think that's a pretty basic but good enough concept for a movie. And so you have the three main girls. The main girl's named Rumi. I can't remember the other two girls' names. And they're basically defending Earth from these monsters through different performances, through their songs, through their concerts, everything like that. So that's just the basic premise of this movie. There's also like an evil boy band thing going on, but we'll probably get to that later. So I'm just going to say right off the bat that I actually enjoyed this movie. But also I'm extremely conflicted internally about this movie because I feel like there's a lot of good in this movie, but there's also so much bad, and it's sometimes hard to look past the bad and look at the good. On one hand, this has some of the most stunning animation I've ever seen. Truly up there with like the first Spider-Verse and like the Wild Robot amount of great animation. This is actually made by Sony Animation Pictures, which is slowly becoming one of my new favorite animation studios. This movie also does a really great job with its main character. I felt like the main character's arc was pretty fleshed out, and I was satisfied with the end of it. And I actually liked how this movie was a new original story. We haven't gotten a lot of new original stories in Hollywood, and especially in the animation scene. And so I'm really glad to see that we got an original story. Even though it's based off of K-pop, it didn't invent K-pop at all. K-pop has been a cultural phenomenon for years now. It still was an original story and playing its twist on K-pop. What if K-pop stars were demon hunters? And I actually wish this movie got a theatrical release because I feel like if it got a theatrical release, it could have proven to a lot of studios that original stories can do well in theaters. Because this movie literally would have blown up in theaters. So I'm adding this in during post, but K-pop Demon Hunters actually did get a theatrical release, and I think it was a sing-along edition, and to my knowledge, I think it did pretty well. It has also become Netflix's most viewed film ever. But on the other hand, some of the line deliveries and dialogue was laughably bad. And by laughably bad, I mean me and my brother replayed a portion of this movie over and over and over. I think we replayed it 6 times and laughed the entire time. And it wasn't a funny scene, it was just poor line delivery and the sheer stupidity of the situation. I mentioned earlier that I really liked the main character's arc in this movie, and while that is true, that is the only character that I liked their arc in the entire movie. The other two girls in the K-pop group do not flesh out their characters at all. There is potential for them to do that, and if I would like them to do that in the sequel, but they did not flesh out their characters at all. So the big villain in this movie is like this big demon lord, and you only see him for like 20 minutes in the movie, which I'm okay with, because he has a henchman, which is like the leader of the like K-pop boys group, the evil boys group. And so he has a lot of conflict with the main character. But even I didn't like where they took his character and what they did with his character. I think that's a pretty hot take, and that's just me personally. I can definitely see how a lot of people would really like his character. I want to keep this spoiler free, so I'm not going to say what happened, but there's this portion of the movie where there's a big reveal for his character, and it is played off really poorly. Like, there are a lot of better ways you could have done this, and they might have chosen the worst way to do it. So that's just super frustrating to watch when you could have had a lot of potential, and I could have liked 2 characters in this movie instead of just 1. There's also another portion of this movie where the main character has an emotional moment with another character in the story. Besides, it's not emotional because that character was in like 1 scene beforehand. So you have this big emotional moment with no payoff because there is no build-up. You did not build up to that moment, so therefore there is no payoff. Where there should be emotional payoff, there is none because you did not build it up. So this movie is a musical, and I personally love musicals, but this movie has a lot of K-pop music, and K-pop music just isn't really my favorite type of music. But there are like 2 songs in this movie that I really enjoyed and thought they were well written, really cool songs. But if you love K-pop music, you'll dig this movie. I'd actually be really down for them to make a K-pop Demon Hunters 2, and I want to say it's already greenlit, but I'm not 100% sure. Because I feel like it just didn't explore any of the characters, our main 3 characters, besides the main character, Rumi. And I felt like those other 2 characters were not explored at all. So it's really frustrating to see. And I totally get that it's not their story and it's Rumi's story. But come on, you should at least give them some kind of emotional pull. Everyone, please give a warm welcome to my co-star for the day. So yeah, that basically wraps up all my thoughts about this movie. I'm really split on this movie. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I give it like 3.5 stars on Letterboxd. By the way, if you're not following me on Letterboxd, make sure you're following me. So yeah, 3.5 stars out of 5 is like a 7 out of 10. So yeah, I enjoyed it, but not my favorite thing. Prequel idea. It's a prequel to this movie with none of the same characters, except maybe Celine. It's set in the 90s, and instead of K-pop, it's rock music. You could even make it a backstory for Rumi's mom. And that Weezer did the soundtrack. I want my check in the mail, Sony.